Hello dudes and dudettes. In this Fool's Guide appendix, let's call that, I'm quickly gonna go over how to extract assets using FModel, and by quickly I mean I have made guides about that before, so nothing new there, but I'm just quickly gonna go over it. And if there's any doubt, I refer you back to the original videos showing you more in depth how to do that. Furthermore, I'm gonna demonstrate how to do that with Geronimo, as well as how you are going to get the assets that you make into the game, because I've had a lot of requests about that, so figured might as well show some of the new and updated information while using this game as an example. So first off, you're gonna need FModel. I'm gonna see if I can find a link and then link that in the description. Once you have FModel installed, you will need to find a directory. You just point it, not the main folder, because you might get too many files that you really do not need to mess with, but just point it to the Geronimo content packs folder. That is gonna get you what you want. And also remember to use the correct version of Unreal Engine, which is 5.7 with the Geronimo. So once you've done that, you enter here. Now these files you can ignore. These are my mods, so you're probably not gonna see any of those unless you've installed them, which of course I recommend. Anyway, to get into the assets, you need to go into this one, the Geronimo Windows UTOG file. In here you'll find everything you need. Now I'll leave it up to you to figure out where to find stuff and anything. But before you're able to get anything, you need a mapping file, which I've also covered before, so I'm not gonna waste too much time on it. But you can get a mapping file on the Geronimo Nexus page, where I've uploaded one a while back. And once you've downloaded that, you go into the FModel settings, and then you have the local mapping file that you enable, and then you just point the mapping file path to the mapping file you just downloaded, and press OK. Everything should work. If you do not have a mapping file, you won't be able to see any of the assets. I mean, you still get all of this, but whenever you get some of the that is the folder structure, but once you go into any of the folders that contain the assets, you are not gonna get any information about them. Sure, it has the name and everything, but it's not gonna say sound cue or sound wave. It's just gonna say U asset, and you cannot open it. If you double click it to open it, you're gonna get a red error down here, so it won't work. And the same with all of the meshes and all the textures. Once you've found what you want, I mean, you can, let's say that this is the HK416, as you can see, pretty badass. Now, most of this you cannot modify. The material instances and materials, you cannot really touch those. You're gonna crash the game. So you can make replacement mods for some meshes. I'm not sure if that is really supported with in Geronimo yet, but maybe. Anyway, you can definitely replace both sounds, sound effects, and also textures. Whenever I make a texture replacer, I always use the models in Blender. I export those so I can actually look at the model inside of Blender and see the things I modify. That makes it a lot easier to work with. Holy shit, this is gonna be nice when they release that. That is also one of the things about making mods. I mean, you get an inside look at what the developers sometimes are doing. Anyway, if you look at these, you can see what kind of an asset it is. And for models, it is either a static mesh or a skeletal mesh. The skeletons and physics asset and so on, you cannot really do anything about that. So just for now, ignore that. Anyway, once you found what you want, let's see, in this case I want these three so I can do some stuff and things with them. Just right click files and export model. And then this is a new version of FModel. Before it just exported it, and that was it. Now they actually cube them up, so you have to go in here and then press export. And the cool thing about FModel, which has been like this for a long time, is that whenever you export models, then by default it also exports all the related textures. So you do not have to go into this texture folder to export all of them. The only exception is if there's any textures that the mesh isn't using, then the unused textures aren't gonna get exported. One example of that is into the radius. They have a lot of meshes, weapon meshes, that besides having a store, a pristine version of that weapon, it also has the radius version of those weapons, and they're gonna be more, they're gonna have a bit more wear and they're gonna look a bit different, but the only real difference are the textures. So when you export any of those weapons, you're only gonna get the pristine texture, so to speak. All of the other, the grungy looking textures, they aren't gonna get exported, so you have to go in there and export them yourselves. And I'm pretty sure it might be the same here if, yeah, this pistol grip, unless I export a mesh that actually uses it, it's just gonna lie here. So that's always nice to know. Anyway, once you export them, when you press export, FModel is gonna create an output folder in the same directory as it's, or in the same folder as it's placed in. So you go in there and then exports. Did I close FModel? Yeah, I did. No. Anyway, FModel exports them with the same files, with the same folder structure as is in game. So in this case, I'm gonna use the P226 as an example, and that is in content, weapons, and P226. And then I have everything in here. It also extracts or tries to extract the material instance, but that doesn't work. Anyway, here I have the model files. And also, if you want to open the PSK or PSKX, which is Unreal kind of model files, you need a plugin. There it is. This plugin, Unreal PSK/PSA, that allows you to import those meshes into Blender and then have fun with them as you want. You can see I also have an X-ray plugin to allow me to mess with the stalker models. Anyway, here you can see I have here's the original P226 as well as all the parts of it imported, and we're using the original textures, and then I have made a new version of it, new textures for this one that I have highly enhanced, so to speak. I added some, I enhanced the wear a bit more and added numbers to it and tried them. That's it. I'm not gonna go into detail how to do that because, again, I've also made a video about that, and that would make this video extremely long. In any case, once you have made whatever you have made, no matter if it's textures or if it's sound effects or whatever, you are gonna need Unreal Engine 5.7 to actually package it. And to get that, you need Epic Games. Just quickly, I have also shown this before, but it's just so there's no doubt. So once you have Epic Games, the Epic Games launcher, go into library, and in engine versions here, you can press the plus to get a new one, and then you could just click this one and select version 5.7.4, and then you are gonna get the engine you need for Geronimo. Now, if you're modding any other games, like you can see I have quite a few projects here, you just install that engine version and then go from there. The only difference is Unreal Engine 4.27, but I've made a video about how modding games for that, so go watch that if that is the case. In any case, Unreal Engine 5. Whatever, mostly the same. The procedure of it on making mods, so there's not that much difference. You just need to know what version it is, and then you just follow these steps. It's pretty straightforward. Anyway, once you have everything that you need, you wanna put it into the game, you want to check it out and play around with it, see if it actually works. So I'm just gonna show how it actually looks when you make a new project. When you open it up for the first time, it's gonna look like this. So when you make a new project, in order to package mods so the game can actually read them, you just need to make sure that games are selected and then pick blank, because you do not need any of the templates and content that are parts of any of these templates. So games, blank, and then you pick the project location. You just put that somewhere and then you name it pretty much whatever you want. Okay, I have changed a couple of things, so I'm not entirely sure. This is how it looks when you open it up for the first time. I mean, usually the content browser is way down here or something anyway. You just need to pull this up so you have this. And yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, moving on. You are gonna replicate the folder structure from the game itself, because again, you are replacing files. So unless they are in the exact same spot as the in-game or in the game folders, the game will not find them, it will not recognize them, and it will not use them. So if I had changed the HK416A5, I would start with this one. So we have the content folder, and then I would make a weapons folder, a HK blah blah blah, and then a textures folder, and so on. You need all of them, and you need to spell them out exactly the same way as they are in the game, as they're in the files. That includes spelling errors, and sometimes I've seen that there was 2 underscores once right after each other. That was quite annoying to figure that out. But anyway, you have to copy that exactly. Otherwise, again, the game won't recognize it. And it's the same with the assets that you make. If they're called something different, they are not going to be loaded. Now I made these files. Now for this one, I only made 2. So I'm just going to verify, yeah, they are the correct ones. Now I'm quickly going to show you something pretty cool. And there it is. For this example, because I haven't modified these 2 files, there's no reason to include them, but I'm gonna do that anyway, because let's go back so I can actually show you. There it is. If I open up these inside of FModel, I get all of this information here, and I can see the resolution, I can see what pixel format it is, I can also see what compression settings are used. In this case, none really. And that is kind of an issue. And that is something I've only just learned recently, and it makes a huge difference what you use. For anything that you hold in your hand, anything you interact with, so to speak, that be either grenades, weapons, food in VR games, that is also it. Anything you need to be very highly detailed. Can I get that down? Thank you. They need to be in the texture group weapon. Otherwise, they're gonna be lower resolution. They're gonna be, it won't generate as many MIP maps, and you're gonna get a level of detail that's kind of ass, and you don't really need to get that far from it before it degrades the image a lot, or the texture, so they're gonna look horrible. That is one thing. So and the same goes for any other type of asset. I mean, if it's a character, you use the character texture groups. If it's a world asset, then you just use those. I mean, most of them are pretty self-explanatory. The only thing is just weapon. It is not just weapons. It is also like I said, everything you pretty much interact with that you need to look good. I mean, of course, if it's a book, for instance, like in Into the Radius 2, there's a lot of books you can pick up and play around with. They do not need that, because otherwise you'd make way too many details on way too many assets. It would drag the performance down. So you have to think a bit about that, what it's for. Also, the compression settings here that is also really important. You need to set them correctly, otherwise it'll look ass. The best example are the OIMs, because when I have already set these up, but anyway, when you export these into Unreal Engine, it is pretty good at recognizing normal maps and assigning them to a normal map, but it always assigns them to the world normal map. But the compression setting is usually correct. It does make mistakes. But anyway, this is a weapon, so I want it as a weapon normal map. Again, higher amounts of detail, more maps. So I'm gonna use that for this one. But like I said, the occlusion, roughness, metallic maps, and also if they're separated, if you're not using an OIM, if it's an ambient occlusion, a roughness, and a metallic mask, so you have them looking like this. This is blue, this is the metallic, and then you have a roughness, and so on and so forth. You still need to put them into the texture group specular, because that makes Unreal Engine read them correctly. Also, the next thing is compression settings. If you have this at the default, this is a color map. It is just gonna then Unreal is just gonna use it, read it as not as a mask, but as a color map. So it's gonna look all fucked up. I mean, I made some really nice shiny metal-y pastels that looked amazing in Blender, and then I imported them and they looked like ass. I mean, they were completely dull and they had no shine to them, and they were really awful. And I've also experienced the opposite, where it just looked very glossy and almost waxy. And and that's because Unreal Engine isn't reading it correctly, because it's not set up correctly. So if you put this to set this as a mask and as a specular, you're golden. And then it's gonna look exactly like it did in the 3D viewer. And the last thing that I'm quickly just gonna go over is optimization. All of these are 4K. That is very large. And they also take, this is the original ones, they are 42.8 megabyte. That is a lot for a single set of textures. And honestly, we do not need that. I'm just gonna show this one as an example. Yeah, sure, if you go in close, I mean, this looks good. This looks really good. I mean, holy damn, the amount of detail, very, very nice. However, you aren't able to look at it that close. Not even in VR. You do not need an image on texture that detailed. So I'm just gonna lower this to show the difference. Yes, thank you. Now, if we go in close, you're like, oh shit, that's blurry, that's not good. Ugh, cannot use this. Well, no one's gonna be able to look at it this close. I mean, the closest we're gonna get might be about here. And, well, it looks damn good. So, there's no reason not to use it. But that is the normal map. The normal maps are pretty much the most important textures you got for most things, because they contain all of the details. Now, something as an OIM, especially if there's a lot of OIMs, you really do not need that amount of detail. A 4K OIM is, I don't think I've ever seen an asset that really needed it. Now, it depends on the size of the texture, depends both of the amount of detail, but also the size of the object it is applied on. This is a pistol, so it's a pretty small item, but still it is the pistol. I mean, we are gonna hold it in our hands a lot, and we're gonna have it close to our face, so it needs to look good. But still, this one can quite easily. I mean, yeah, sure, you're gonna be like, oh, that's a lot of details that are missing, but on an OIM, these are layers telling how the shine is and stuff like this. You're not really gonna see that much detail anyway. It is getting lost. The more detail there is, the more lost it is, kind of. It is quite roughly spoken, but anyway, this has been scaled down to 1024, which is more than it is adequate for this pistol. And I'm also gonna show you, I'm gonna see if I have an example. I was playing around with this one, and I made one in the original resolution 4K and also one in 2K, and I made one even more optimized. I'm gonna show them if I have them still, so you can see. I was about to say the difference, but really, I mean, I looked at them in game. They looked equally amazing, all of them. So it's kind of stupid, but you heavily optimize it, and textures do take a toll in the long run. I mean, making one mod in a huge ass resolution is not gonna break anything, so to speak, and optimizing just one set of texture assets is not gonna make the performance very nice all of a sudden. But it is nice to know, because it quickly adds up, and it does make a difference. Anyway, changing all of these resolution, like you just saw, I mean, it takes some time, but the easy way to do it is once you've put your assets in here, you can see the resolution. It's almost in the middle. It says dimensions. These are 4K, all of them. But instead of scaling them down manually and going through that each and every single asset, I'm just gonna highlight them in engine. Once I've imported them, I'm gonna take right click, then texture source actions, reduce size. Unreal is actually pretty good at this. I have done an experiment where I downscaled it myself using all the correct means of doing it, so I would lose as little detail as possible. And then I made Unreal do it afterwards, and there was no difference. I mean, it actually does it pretty well. Now, I'm gonna scale these down to 2K, and then I'm gonna select these actions. I'm gonna deselect this for a bit, because these ones I want a tiny smidge smaller. This one, where is it? There it is. This one, an emissive map. Yeah, that's fine, because all the only information that's here are these 3 spots. That's it. The game doesn't need a texture file that is so freaking huge to read that. This is more than enough. I could probably take it down even further, but there's no real need. Once you've done that and everything is awesome and amazing, you go into platforms here in the top, you select packaging settings, and this is the first one you're gonna get. Now, Geronimo uses IO Store, so you need to make sure that it's selected. The next one that you need, no matter what game it is, all Unreal Engine 5 mods you're making, you need generate chunks. So you enable that as well. Now, in some of the earlier versions of Unreal Engine 5, I'm not sure if they've fixed it. I just made it a habit a while ago. I think it was in 5.3 they introduced that bug, so to speak. But it doesn't really know how to cook things, so that's freaking annoying. If you're getting errors when you package it, then you don't get the pack chunks you need, you can go down here in the first thing. You have this advanced that you just open up, and then you go down into cook everything in the project content directory, enable that, and then it should work. And let's take the last thing before we go over to labels. Now, if you want to fix the packaging settings, you go into package projects and you put it on shipping. I gotta be honest, I'm not entirely sure why or what the difference is between them. I think it's how much you can access once it's packaged or something like that. I'm not sure, but I've always been recommended using that setting, so that's just what I do. But now it's set up, it's good to go. The next thing you need to do is to create a label. Now it might seem a bit annoying, but it's actually very nice because you can make a absolute shit ton of mods, which are all gonna be separated into their own pack chunks. So I can make a lot of them and then just, well, I don't want everything inside of one mod. I want to make it customizable maybe, or I'm making several mods at once. Then I can just package everything in, use the label, and then they are separated. It's actually, it's a very nice system actually. So anyway, you get one of these, you have to be in the content folder. That is where you're gonna make the label, and you go into right click, miscellaneous, then you have the data asset. So you pick that one, scroll down a bit until you have the primary asset label. Select that, and you are gonna get the label, and I already have a P226, so I'm not gonna do that anyway. So you make the label, and you set the priority. It's gonna be at 0, but you set that at 1. The chunk ID, I believe it has to be between a random number basically. You can pick whatever you want, it doesn't matter, but it has to be between 1000 and 5000 if I'm not mistaken. But you just pick a number that suits you, and a good idea is once you get just a bit of making some mods and using a lot of pack chunks. I mean, this is from my weapons overhaul for Into the Radius 2. You can see I have there's a lot of pack chunks in there, and there's some other mods as well. But anyway, that quickly gets confusing. So writing them down so you don't have to check the label just makes it easier. Anyway, so assign a chunk ID. Then in cook rule, it is set at unknown on a default, but you set it at always cook, and that is it. And then the last thing is that you take the assets that you want to package and you put them into the explicit assets. Now this is double. Let's do that again. No reason to do that. So it looks like this. And these are all the assets I want packaged in this one. You can always remove them. You can add more assets later if I wanted to expand this with some, let's say, audio, some sound effects for it. I wanted it to sound like a squeaky dog instead of a pistol. Then I could add that as well, and then just package it. So, and yeah. So I have my label file, I have the modified textures that I have modified. You can see the dimensions there, and they are in the correct texture group. The compression settings are as they should be, and everything is peachy. Perfect. So now I want to package it. I go into platform, package project. Alright, that's annoying. Anyway, I just select the same project name as I made to begin with. That it's easier to organize, but I also have some extra mods in other places, but that doesn't really matter. You just select whatever folder you want it to be saved in, and then go with that. And then you have to wait for a little bit. The first time it can take a while for it to be packaged, but each subsequent time you are packaging something, it doesn't really take that long. Actually, that really wasn't anything. So once it's packaged, remember I put it into my Unreal projects in the Geronimo folder. Then the pack chunks that I just made are located in Windows, Geronimo, Content, Packs, and there I have it. And that was 4310. And I am gonna call this, as it's called, a test P226. You can call your mods whatever. It really doesn't matter. Call it whatever you want. Now, Unreal is reading it alphabetically in the mod loading order. So unless you have something that affects the same assets as the one you made, it doesn't really matter that much. But the important thing is that whatever you name it, you need to end it with an underscore P, which is short for patch if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, if that's not there, Unreal is not gonna touch it. It doesn't care that those files don't exist. So once you've done that, we go into the game files, Geronimo, content, packs, mods. There's some who believe there should be a squiggly line in front of the mods for it to work, but I mean, I don't know where that came from, but it's not true. You don't need that. You could call this whatever you want. Most mod makers prefer you to use a mod folder to keep things organized, and then otherwise, if you keep it in the packs folder, there are people who will delete the game files and then write the mod makers, why doesn't my game work anymore? Go figure. It can be freaking annoying. Now see, I have these that are actually doing the same thing. Oh, this is before they were optimized. This is almost 30 megabyte. I don't even think this is only a couple of the files, but anyway. So I removed the old one, and now, well, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna go in game and see if it works. Nice. Now that was actually the first thing. When you just made a mod, the first thing you control is that the game actually boots. That is a very good start. Ooh. Damn. That looks pretty decent. Let's go somewhere the sun shines so we can actually see it. Damn, that is decent. Okay, now the plastic is looking way better than the rest of the gun. Maybe I should update the OIM map for that as well. But fuck no. This is that is crisp. Oh yeah, notice. Remember what I said about optimizing the textures? I mean, if I take this really close and getting all cross-eyed and shit, I mean, this is. I mean, I cannot tell any difference between this and the 4K version. And if you remember, then the only thing that's 2K is the normal map, and the ORM and the base color, they are both only 1024. So that's some decent optimization. That's sweet. Shit. Well, I like that. So, there you have it. That's how you do it. Now it's up to you guys. So, I hope you learned some cool shit and have a lot you can take out of this. And then I look forward to seeing a lot of badass mods out there. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, dudes, and thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves and stay awesome.